For 40 years, you've been handed the exact same script for financial survival. Go to school, get a safe job, put 5% of your paycheck into a 401k, save up for a 20% down payment on a house, watch it grow, retire at 65. But if you've tried running that playbook lately, you already know the truth. The math simply does not work anymore. In the 1980s, the average American home cost roughly 3.5 times the median household income. Today, it's closer to 8 times. Rent eats 40% of the average paycheck. Student loans linger for decades. The traditional American dream hasn't just become difficult, it's been completely priced out of existence for anyone starting from scratch. The real reason the system feels rigged isn't a secret. It comes down to one critical metric: asset ownership. According to Federal Reserve data, roughly 38% of American households do not own a single share of stock. They have zero exposure to the capital markets. When the economy grows, when corporations break profit records, and when the stock market booms, these families don't participate. They just watch consumer prices go up while their cash melts under inflation. Meanwhile, the top 10% of Americans own over 87% of the entire stock market. The wealthy aren't working harder for cash. Their assets are working for them. If you want your family to break out of this loop, you have to stop playing defense. You need a structural vehicle that forces you into the asset owner class from day one. And that brings us to the single biggest shift in federal financial policy in a generation. Whether you love the man or absolutely despise his politics, what launched nationwide across America on July 4th, 2026, is something every single parent, young adult, and worker needs to understand. Strip away the political noise, forget the rallies. Today, we are looking strictly at the raw mechanics, the tax laws, and the compound interest math behind the newly created Trump accounts. Let's cut through the legislative jargon. A Trump account is essentially a specialized tax-deferred starter IRA for minors, created under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Historically, if you wanted to save money for your child, your options were severely limited. You could open a 529 plan, but that money is legally trapped. If your kid decides not to go to college or wants to start a business instead, you face steep penalties and taxes to get your cash back. Or you could open a standard custodial brokerage account, but you'd have to pay capital gains taxes along the way, killing your compounding momentum. Why did the government build it this way? Because of the absolute superpower of asset management: time. When an adult starts investing for retirement at age 35, they only have 30 years for their money to double before they hit 65. But when you give a newborn child an investment account, that capital has an 18-year head start before they even enter the workforce. It changes the structural math of wealth generation forever. Now, let's talk about who is eligible to participate and how the free government money is actually distributed. The basic eligibility baseline is incredibly wide. Any child in the United States who is under the age of 18 and possesses a valid Social Security number can have a Trump account opened on their behalf. You do not need to have earned income to open this account. Unlike a standard Roth IRA, where a teenager must have a documented job to contribute, a Trump account can be opened for a day-old infant. Depending on when your child was born and where you live, the program injects different tiers of immediate, non-taxable seed capital into the account. First is the newborn windfall. If you have a child born during President Trump's second term, specifically between January 1st, 2025, and December 31st, 2028, they receive an automatic one-time $1,000 federal seed deposit straight from the U.S. Treasury. There are no income limits or phase-outs for this tier. Whether you make $20,000 a year or $2 million a year, if your baby was born in this window, the government cuts a check for $1,000 to anchor their account. The second tier is the legacy catch-up. What if your children are older? If your kids were born between 2016 and 2024, they do not qualify for the $1,000 federal fund, but they are eligible for a $250 catch-up contribution if you reside in a qualifying zip code where the median household income is $150,000 or less. This massive safety net fund was backed by a $6.25 billion private philanthropic pledge from tech billionaire Michael Dell and his wife Susan, explicitly designed to ensure older kids aren't left behind. Once the account is anchored by the initial seed money, the real stacking begins. The law allows a maximum combined contribution of $5,000 per child per year. But here's where the playbook gets highly strategic. This $5,000 limit does not have to come out of your personal pocket. The law establishes a multi-channel funding model. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or friends can deposit after-tax cash directly into the child's account via the official app. But you can also utilize a massive corporate perk. Employers are now authorized to contribute up to $2,500 per year directly into an employee's dependent child's Trump account. This contribution is completely excluded from the employee's taxable income, and the employer gets to write it off as compensation expense. If you work for a participating company, you can essentially redirect part of your pre-tax compensation package straight into your child's wealth vehicle. Let's run the numbers. No hype, no political promises, just historical stock market returns. Imagine you are a lower-income parent. You are completely broke, working paycheck to paycheck, and you cannot afford to contribute a single dollar to your newborn child's account. But on your tax return, you check the box to claim your child's Trump account. The U.S. Treasury drops the $1,000 seed money into an S&P 500 index fund. Assuming the historical long-term average U.S. stock market return of roughly 10% per year, look at what happens by the time that child turns 18. Without a single extra dollar ever deposited by the family, that $1,000 has compounded into roughly $5,600. It's not a fortune, but it is a cash cushion that can pay for an entire semester of community college, buy a reliable used car to get to work, or serve as an emergency fund. It gives a low-income 18-year-old a financial floor that millions of Americans today simply do not have. A Trump account solves this by using a tax-deferred growth framework. Any money deposited into this account grows completely insulated from Uncle Sam. If your investments pay dividends, or if you rebalance the account by selling one fund to buy another, you pay $0 in capital gains taxes during the growth period. Every single penny of profit stays inside the account, compounding cleanly year after year. To ensure this program isn't treated like a speculative day trading account or a temporary savings fund, the federal government built 3 strict structural guardrails into its design. Rule number 1 is the lockout. The assets are legally owned by the child, but managed by a parent or guardian. No withdrawals can be made under any circumstances until the child turns 18 years old. The money is locked in to compound. Rule number 2 is pure index investing. Cash and money market funds are strictly banned. You cannot use this account to buy speculative meme coins, options, or individual penny stocks. The law mandates that 100% of the capital must be invested in low-cost equity index funds or exchange-traded funds, like the S&P 500, that mirror the broader American economy. Furthermore, the fees on these funds are legally capped at a razor-thin 0.10%. You are completely safe from predatory Wall Street management fees. Rule number 3 is the shift to a traditional IRA. On January 1st of the year your child turns 18, the training wheels come off. The Trump account automatically converts into a standard traditional IRA. From that point forward, it follows standard retirement account rules, but with special lifetime exceptions allowing your child to pull money out penalty-free for specific milestone events, like a first-time home purchase or qualified higher education expenses. Now let's look at the maximum playbook. Let's say you utilize your employer benefits, family gifts, and personal savings to completely max out the account at $5,000 every single year from birth until the child turns 18. According to official projections released by the White House Council of Economic Advisors, under average market conditions, the compounding curve accelerates aggressively. By age 5, the account sits at $33,200. By age 10, it hits $84,900. By the time the child reaches age 18, the total family cash input is $91,000, but the account is worth over $303,800. That is a down payment on a house, an entire 4-year university tuition, paid in full, or the seed capital to launch a business. But it gets crazier. If that young adult leaves the money untouched inside the vehicle for just 10 more years while entering the workforce. By age 28, the account balance breaches $1,091,900. A 28-year-old self-made millionaire. They haven't even hit their peak earning years yet, and they are already completely set for life. They don't have to stay in a toxic job just for a paycheck. They don't have to panic about rent. They have achieved complete digital leverage before turning 30, all because their wealth engine started running 28 years prior. Now let's address the elephant in the room. A significant portion of people watching this video might absolutely dislike Donald Trump. You might disagree with his immigration policies, his tariffs, his rhetoric, or his judicial appointments. And because his name is stamped directly onto this financial program, your immediate gut reaction might be to reject it. You might think, I'm not participating in a political stunt, or I don't trust a program with that name. If you are thinking that way, I want you to take a deep breath and listen to me very carefully. Do not let political ideology blind your wallet. In the world of wealth building, money does not care about political parties. The stock market doesn't ask who you voted for before it compounds your dividends. When you open a Trump account, your money isn't being donated to a campaign. It isn't funding a political party. It is legally titled in your child's name, held by independent financial custodians, and invested directly into the top 500 largest corporations in America. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Nvidia. Think about the absolute irony of boycotting this account out of protest. If you refuse to open a Trump account for your eligible child born between 2025 and 2028, you are literally telling the U.S. Treasury to keep $1,000 of your tax dollars. You are actively refusing free capital. Who wins if you do that? Not you, not your kid. The only winner is the federal government, which keeps your money, and the wealthy asset owners who continue to own the economy, while your family remains on the sidelines. Politicians come and go. Administrations rotate every 4 to 8 years. But the structural wealth gap remains. If the system is offering an institutional loophole that allows you to take tax-deferred money, secure corporate matches, and claim a free $1,000 baseline to turn your kid into an asset owner, you take it. You take it every single time. You don't boycott a wealth vehicle because you don't like the guy who signed the bill. You use the bill to secure your own family's survival. Setting up a Trump account is designed to bypass the traditional bureaucracy of old-school banking. You do not need a wealth advisor or a physical bank branch. First, verify eligibility. Ensure your child is under 18 with a valid Social Security number. Second, file IRS Form 4547. This Trump account election form can be submitted alongside your annual tax return or filed independently online. Third, download the official app at trumpaccounts.gov to securely link your documents and manage your dashboard. Fourth, select your index anchor, choosing a broad market index fund like an S&P 500 ETF with fees capped under 0.10%. Finally, link your funding and contact your human resources department to activate any employer matching perks. The old economic playbook promised that hard work alone was enough to survive. In 2026, we know that's an illusion. Hard work without asset ownership just keeps you running on a hamster wheel while inflation devalues your life. The Trump account program isn't a silver bullet that will magically fix every economic issue in the country. But what it does do is hand you a powerful tool to rewrite the financial trajectory of your children. It gives them a stake in the American economy from day one. It turns them from passive consumers into direct shareholders. Don't let apathy, confusion, or political bias keep your family on the sidelines. The platform is officially live, the capital is moving into the markets, and the numbers don't lie. Get the account open, claim your seed funds, and let compound interest do the heavy lifting. Because at the end of the day, the true American dream isn't about a political party. It's about building financial freedom so strong that nobody else can ever take it away from you. I'm Mervin. Stay leveraged, my friends.